thanks for sliding into my DMs. What was it like before you started coaching with me? Like, what was your main struggle as an entrepreneur or budding entrepreneur?
Yeah, the main struggle was self-doubt, a lot of self-doubt, not thinking that like, thoughts of like, "Who am I to build this? Who am I to say that this is missing and create something to solve this problem?" Like, who am I? Right? And like we talk about all the time, when you're the first, the only, and you've been really pushed down, uh, you don't have the model, you don't have the visibility, right? You don't see others like you doing things like this. Immediately, you're just self questioning, self doubting. And I was very afraid to expose all of that, right? Because once you do something like this and you're storytelling and you're telling people the mission and vision and your why, you're telling them the truth. And so it's very scary to expose yourself like that and exposing, right, that I would be taking a different road than the path that I was on.
Mm.
From the external perspective, I had a great job. I had a great salary, all this stuff. I was an MBA from NYU. I should be like living the dream, right? I accomplished the dream. But it wasn't what I wanted. I thought it was, but it wasn't actualizing like I wanted.
Mm.
And I was really scared to essentially tell the world, even if it's a small world, right? My small world on LinkedIn of 2,000 followers and whatever, that, oh, look, I had the misconception, right? That it would look like I had failed in life,
Mm.
failed after all of that by going off on my own, when that's not the case at all, right? But I don't know. What are your thoughts about that?
I I love that we worked through that because I think that's definitely real. That when we're first starting, um, it's almost like I can't even conceive of why this is not already made because it's so obvious, right, that it needs to happen. And we look and look and look, right, and start to see like it's not there. And then, like you said earlier, like if not me, then who is going to do this? And I don't. And plus, I just don't want to wait anymore, right? So, because I actually really need it, and I think that sometimes there's this almost desperation of like I need this. Like we're building these businesses. A lot of people I work with, right, are purpose driven. Most of the time, we're building these businesses for us. It's not just there's some selfishness in it, right? Because like I want this community. Like I want to bring people to me. And if I have all this wisdom and ability and access or and whatnot to actually build it, right? Time, privilege, whatever it is, um, that's the generosity I think that so many of us, my clients, have, like come with of I'm building it for me too, and to support everybody or like that doesn't have maybe all the advantages that I do, right? Despite all the difficulties that I might have gone through in my life, right?
Exactly.
I'm at a place where I can make things happen. I know how to maneuver through the world, right? Through business, etc. It's time to go. It's me, right? And I've been looking. Um, and again, I'm so glad that you did finally take that up, and you had to take that first step of saying like I need to work with somebody to help me here because I'm identifying I am potentially stuck in the self doubt, right? And I have enough wisdom to say like I need help with that first, right? Instead of let me go play around a little bit longer and ruminate on something, right? So you had to do that. Like you said, you slipped into my DMs. I didn't find you. So I think that initiative, taking that first step, is important. And yeah, I'm glad you did, and I'm glad to see again this corner of the world being taken care of and making that change. Someone's making the change because there's just not enough.
Thank you.
Yeah. So curious, we've been working together, what have been maybe the top three learnings that you've had since, yeah, we've worked together for what was it, 3 months? Yeah, 3 months. And then you're in my program, so a little bit longer. But what are some of the big things what are the things you've accomplished?
Yeah, well, some of the top three things and some things that I've accomplished. The first is I learned that sharing my story, being authentic to myself and what I believe and value is actually the best way to build a network for my business. I'm attracting the right people who want this, need this, have struggled like I have, and people that also want to support this kind of work. Because I'm so specific about it, it's bringing the people that are going to be highly invested in what I'm doing. So I've learned that thanks to your help. Second, like some of the accomplishments have been really cool. I've added over 700 people into my network since working with you. Yeah, that's not like influencer level, but it is 700 really invested people in what I'm doing. Very interested, highly engaged people. So whether they're going to be future members of this network, future supporters, future mentors, et cetera, 700 is a lot.
A lot.
Right. And so this has led to over 80 virtual meetings with these individuals, or podcast interviews, 2 speaking opportunities with 3 more in the pipeline. I've earned my first business revenue in August, so yay! So real paid contracts, and there's more that's been happening, but those are some of the highlights.
Oh, that's so exciting. I love like the first point of like I had to own my story because that's what people want to know and want to hear, and being very, it's like niching, right, to this is specifically who I'm helping. Can I help all Asians? Can I sure, but like really it's this segment of, again, quarter of the world that I really want to serve. And it's that first step of owning who you are, being able to share the story, because that's what people are going to gravitate towards. Clearly, right? It's not what's the stats and stuff, right? It is who are you, and like why do you care? And oh my gosh, I'm on board with that mission. I'm on board with your movement, right? 700 people are on board with your mission and movement. So that's so exciting for me to hear. And of course, because of that ripple of impact, right? Like it's much more, what we're doing is much more expansive than just Grace wants to have an independent business by herself, right? Like, and of course, all the wonderful things that have come with that, like the speaking engagements, the podcasts, um, obviously the money like coming in with your first contracts. That's really exciting. And when you're talking about like, it's not influencer level. Hey, it doesn't matter, right? If it's engaged folks, you can have a small audience. That's all that matters, right? You can get a contract within 3 or so months because you are focused, have a niche, know what your product is, know your story, right? You don't need 7 million, like, or 7,000, right? 700 is fine. And um, I'm curious to hear, were you on social a lot before that? Like, so this is coming from like no presence really. Like I use it for a job because I know you're in biz dev, right? But otherwise, no, I wasn't an influence. I wasn't a creator, right?
Oh no, I stayed away from it. I was like anti-social media. It's if you're using it for personal purposes, it can really suck you in, and it can be draining sometimes to see everything on social media, and you do that comparison thing and all of that. So no, I wasn't. I was staying away from it. But now I'm leveraging it for the exact reason that I want to leverage it for, right? To help the communities that I'm serving. And it's been awesome. And I just want to mention like the third, like I think most important thing that I've learned or that has been achieved through working with you is that I actually moved forward to start because I came to you with, I have this idea, I have all this self doubt. I don't know what I'm going to do. Help me.
Yeah, and I was like,
And then we
"Okay."
turned and then we turned it into me leaving my full-time, really good paying
Mhm.
role in the summer, me actually forming an LLC, me having a website, me having a following, me having advisors, like pending collaborators, pending partners, a platform for this community that's in beta right now that I will launch. So it's like I started and look what's happened in
Yeah.
just a handful of months.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with this isn't even a year. Is this like 6 months maybe?
It's not. I started working with you like in March or not March, May, I think.
Yeah.
Right? So or late April, something like that. And, so yeah, it's just incredible to see where I was even in June when I didn't have an LLC yet
Yeah.
to today. We're in September 8th, and look at everything that's happened. So that, working with a business coach like you, like that, you were just the catalyst for all of this movement. And I wouldn't have started without hiring you.
Oh. I'm like, "Yay."
Well,
I'm so
your
proud of you.
your impact, Carissa, is gonna be huge and, touching, like, a community, right, that you weren't involved with before either. It's really
Very exciting.
significant. I'm really proud of you and proud of us.
Oh, thank you. This is why I call all my clients my friends. I'm like, I mean, like, the clients are like, where are I going later next?" I'm like, where are you going? Like, you're right, you're still in my community. Where you're going? um well, Grace, we can start to wrap things up a little bit, move towards that, but because I this could be an hour long situation at least at a minimum. um but I you know Entrepreneurship can be challenging, um and it's not just about all the technical things, right? How do you create an LLC? How do you get partnerships, etc.? It's also about sustainability, right? What do you do? What have you been noticing for yourself as, like, you be owning yourself, like being a CEO, and some of the kind of the wellness practices to make sure that you're still grounded and that you're still taking care of the whole self, not just the CEO or the founder self.
Yeah, I stay grounded by really keeping boundaries. And boundaries is huge. That's something I didn't do when I was working in the nonprofit sector and the corporate sector. And that was part of, right, not just the burnout, but also just the unfulfillment of my career and my life, those feelings of unfulfillment. And understanding uh, now, right, like really feeling that empowerment that's coming from myself, right, that look, I can set my boundaries. I am driving this, so I can set my boundaries. So that's what I do, and it looks like, right, making time to exercise when I need to exercise, clear
Mm.
my head, get that fresh air. One of the key things that is a non-negotiable for me is having that time with my daughter and my family.
Mm.
That literally was being stolen from me every day because there was another meeting added to another meeting and then this deadline and then this fire drill. And not that that won't happen in the entrepreneurship landscape, but I can also say no, that's enough, stop. And I I get to choose, right? What what time I get to spend with my daughter and my family, and that's why we're trying to achieve whatever dream it is that we're going after because we want to create the life that we want. We want our families to have, right, what we never had. So those boundaries are really critical to my well-being and mental health too, and staying centered.
Yeah. I'm glad that you're able to implement that, because it's one thing to do it for work, and it's tough, right? When you have people demanding things of you, still working in this very toxic capitalistic kind of environment and ideologies. And it's sometimes not necessarily better when you become your own boss, right? When you're not kind of seeing models of something different, you have to create that for yourself. Like, you have to be you're creating the boundary with yourself, right? Like you no, you're the one telling yourself whether or not you're going to work grind or not, and spend time with your kids and your family or not. So I'm glad that you're able to do that because I know that's not easy for a lot of folks, and it seems like it's the non-negotiable though that's going to make all of this stuff work, right? And why you even did this in the first place, because that was the point. That was a large part of the personal point, as to have that
Yes.
time, location, occupational, financial freedom for yourself, right? So,
Right.
awesome to see that you're able to hold those boundaries
Thank
when,
you.
against yourself as the boss.
Well, and your coaching really helped with that, right?
Oh,
You helped set like the framework for it, which is great. Thank you.
yeah. I think I'm trying also to create a different model than what we're used to. So again, it's not easy because we don't see it often. It's part of the deal, right? Of creating and creating this new type of um, model so that we can really find liberation in what we do in our lives. So, as we wrap up, what are you most proud of, you know, of what you've been accomplishing so far? What are you most proud of, and what do you look forward to most as you're looking towards what's to come, the future?
Yeah, I would say I'm most proud of making the conscious decisions and actions with the help of your coaching to stop caring about external judgment
Mhm.
and external validation, because that is what was holding me back. And not that the uh, the instinct to do that is still not there, right? I haven't completely overcome that, but I have tools now and a community of entrepreneurs where we can turn to each other and say, okay, got to stay true to ourselves, our values. People that are externally judging us, well, what we're building is not for them anyway.
Yeah.
So it's okay. They can judge all they want. We're building this for them. So, and I certainly am not judging myself. Like, I don't think that I'm doing a bad job or that I suck or that I fail. I need to listen to that inner voice and listen to those who really need what I'm building. Like, that's where we're going to find our validation, our motivation, and our power. And so I'm really proud of myself for I don't care. Like, you don't like what I'm doing? I don't care. Like, I care about you as a person, but I don't care that you think what I'm doing is dumb. Then go find something that speaks to you.
Yeah. At
And
least 700 people don't think it's dumb, right? So,
yeah, and others, like people from my past that are popping up, just overjoyed and so encouraging and supportive. That's been super surprising and wonderful too. So and I would say like what I'm most looking forward to is, when the grace of 15 years ago slides into my DMs and they're like, this has changed my life. Thank you for building this. This, we need this. Like, it's changing my career trajectory. I'm getting mentors. I increased my salary by $40,000. Whatever it is, this is what I needed 15 years ago, even 5 years ago. So when I start getting those messages and start seeing this community grow into hundreds and then thousands, and there are millions of us transracial adoptees and foster care alumni in our country, millions.
mhm.
And so hopefully this platform will impact even a fraction of that population. That would be hugely rewarding for me. So that's what I'm excited for.